was a pleasure to burn. It was a special pleasure to see things eaten, to see things blackened and changed, with the brass nozzle in his fists, with this great python spitting its venomous kerosene upon the world. The blood pounded in his head, and his hands were the hands of some amazing conductor playing all the symphonies of blazing and burning to bring down the tatters and charcoal ruins of history, with his symbolic helmet numbered 451 on his stolid head, and his eyes all orange flame with the thought of what came next. He flicked the igniter, and the house jumped up in a gorging fire that burned the evening sky red and yellow and black. He strode in a swarm of fireflies.
Fahrenheit 451, Ray Bradbury.
And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For every one that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God.
John chapter 3, verses 19 through 21.
It's a pleasure to burn. What an opening line. Ray Bradbury started off strong. I've been hitting the hits lately, as the kids say, the bangers. I've been going through books that I really, really enjoy. Right now, 2025, when we're watching this video, there's a message in this book that I think is a pretty dire warning. And I want to start with something a little different. You have to, give me a little leeway here. I want to get a little nerdy with you about this book and the way that Ray Bradbury writes, and then in general, literary excellence of the using of words to portray a scene or an idea versus something that I would say has eternity in the ink. It is not just literary excellence, but it's that coupled with this eternal idea, this truth, if you will. It always siphons down to these truths found in the Bible and God's truth found throughout our life, put into words or song or poetry or novels. So let's start with a passage that's at the very beginning of this book, and just to set it up, it is Guy Montag, who is the main character. He's a fireman, but if you're familiar with this book, firemen no longer put out fires; they start them, and specifically for books and literature. If you're found with a book, it's not only is the book's going to burn, but probably be his holder as well. And this is Guy's job, and they have a real life of leisure. He's not super rich, but you kind of gather that there are this is a society where people have ultimately invested in distraction. And Guy gets home and his wife has overdosed on sleeping pills, not the first time. And he is about to call the service that comes and basically pumps a person's stomach and blood. And it's not a big deal. This happens, you'll find out it says it happens, 10, 15 times a night. This is a constant thing. Even though society has given a person everything it wants for distraction and entertainment and leisure, there is this deep-seated welling of misery that bubbles up. So listen to the way he describes the black jet planes going over into the sky, the bombers.
He felt that the stars had been pulverized by the sound of the black jets, and that in the morning the earth would be covered with their dust like a strange snow.
So that's an example of what I would call literary excellence. That's a line to where you can really see the genius of Ray Bradbury, the way he describes a scene, juxtaposes darkness and light, the darkness of the silhouette of these bombers versus the light pinpricks of the stars coming through. And it's the sound of these bombers that would pulverize even the stars, their whole world, and the light that is getting into the world through the darkness of night would be pulverized with this sound of war and death and destruction. It's really, really great writing. But I think it stops there. I want to show you another example, and this is at the end of the book. And to set this scene up, Guy has outed himself. He had been in this, what is called the parlor in the room, and his wife and all of her friends who really are on the same course of distraction and entertainment. But you find during that scene, the real inner misery. One of the women, as Guy reads a poem, one of the women just completely breaks down, just hearing a little bit of truth. And he is now in one of the fire trucks headed to what he doesn't know yet is his own home. And but his mind is on those women in the parlor. Listen to
All
this.
the while thinking of the women, the chaff women in his parlor tonight, with the kernels blown out from under them by a neon wind.
That description, when I read it, I knew not only was there literary excellence there, but there was, like I said, there was some eternity in that ink. There's a description there that if you have a background of knowing our Bible, of knowing this truth, he is alluding to kind of the antithesis of this idea that is illustrated in the Bible many times, and that is winnowing wheat. And that is when you have wheat and it's in its chaff and the kernel and the stalks, and it's beaten on the threshing floor, and then it's thrown up into the air, and the wind blows away the lighter chaff, the outer hull of these kernels, and the kernels, being of more weight, fall back down to the ground. And this process has continued until the chaff, the stuff that has no value, has blown away from the wind. The wind is the exercising mechanism of this process, but the weight of the kernel brings it back down, and you have what's left of value. And Ray Bradbury, not only in literary excellence, but he demonstrates an entire society in this literary reference. And it is and that's why I named this video Neon Wind. It's when you hear that, it says the chaff women with the kernels blown out from underneath them from a neon wind. And you can see that what he's saying is what is left of these women, what is left of people in general in this society is no longer the good parts. It's the shell. It's this outer case. It's a facade. It's a barrier. It is armor, even, if you will, but it has been a neon wind, this entertainment of lights and phones and smartphones and internet and Facebook and YouTube. And it's the reels and the clicks and it's a neon wind that, and instead of blowing away the chaff, it has left the chaff. And the most valuable thing, those kernels, is what has been blown. The soul of man is being blown away by a neon wind. Now that is not just literary excellence, that has this eternity in the ink. The heart of this book is not books. It's truth. Truth, sacrifice at the altar of distraction. And that's why I said this book, to me, really is relevant today. And if you find that you do get in the Word, if you really want to satiate that hunger for truth, and you find it in the Word, or if you really start trying to listen to that still small voice, you'll find that hunger for entertainment dwindles. You see a little clearer, if you will. The fog of distraction can clear. It amplifies the calling of man to know and to be known. To know and to be known. Of what is this life about? Is it about these dopamine drops that we get every 10 seconds? And if you've noticed, if you spend a lot of times on reels and looking at videos, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, how do you feel after that? How does your soul feel after that? How do you as a creation feel after that? Depressed. Is this a problem in our world? Do you think that there is a problem with depression in our world? Have you looked and seen, is there a problem with depression in our world? And have people clung tighter to the chaff and let the kernel go? Has the neon wind pushed away what is beautiful in man, and we've held closer to this armor and mask, disguise of a chaff? Something hard, something that can't be penetrated, something that is entertained, something that's all about me. At the beginning of this, it says that those that doeth evil hate the light, because light makes manifest their deeds. It puts a spotlight on what you're living. And then the interesting turn there is that when he is going to give the opposite example of this, you and I would expect Or at least I would expect, he says, it's for him to say, those that do good, well, they don't mind the light. But he doesn't say that. He says, those that doeth truth. And I think we're getting a glimpse into God's economy here. It is not that good cancels out evil, because evil men can do good things. Corrupt hearts can still have good moments of charity, of giving, even forgiveness. Evil men can do that, but those that doeth the truth, and the truth does not involve us being perfect in our own selves, but the truth involves us dying out to ourselves and giving over to him that is truth. Those that doeth the truth, they are not afraid of light, because their deeds are made manifest in God. In God. Those that doeth the truth. Only truth draws that line. So language was created for human beings to express our thoughts and observations of truth, of creation, in conversation with God. And I think it's beautiful. It's, this is one of those children's Sunday school stories that on surface level, it seems so benign, but as an adult, if you look at it, it's like, well, why was this included in the Bible? And that is when God brought all the animals in front of Adam. He said, you name them. This is God teaching man to interact with him. This is God saying, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made flesh, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word dwelt among men. Meaning that God himself is not the spoken word or ink on a paper, but he is that root behind what we are trying to communicate. And this is God communicating with Adam. He says, okay, you give it the names. You give it the word of something that I have made. And on this platform, on this plateau, we can communicate through words, through songs, through literature, through poetry, through novels, sometimes through silly Facebook and YouTube videos. But what we're really trying to get at, it is not a spoken word or a written word. It's the truth, the actuality behind that. And we will not have the energy or fortitude to do that if we are so distracted with entertainment. We are asked by God to put our observations into words and actions. And those words and actions are simply meant for communication, a relationship with to know and to be known, to know and to be known. But it is a neon wind that sweeps through our reality. It is almost at tornado, hurricane levels. Fiddling while Rome burned. I'll leave you with this, and this is maybe what we'll examine in our lives this week. The promise at the altar of marriage of entertainment. Entertainment says it will deliver you joy and happiness. But we always said the examination, the actual fruits of so much entertainment does not deliver on its promise. But examine knowing God. Examine knowing truth. I heard someone say, it was a little while back, and when I first heard it, I just completely disagreed with it until I thought about it more and more and more. Now, at this point, I completely agree with it. As what is the point of life? And this person so simply said, happiness. And I thought, how shallow and how self-centered and how almost narcissistic to think the point of life is happy. And then I got, a few miles behind me, some real experience there. And I had to answer the question, what really makes me happy? Because when I first heard it, I put in that happiness category mostly entertainment and distraction. And I was like, that's the point, is entertainment to feel good? But through experience, those things don't work. It's certainly not what that neon wind blows through that is bringing happiness. But what has brought true, lasting, deep joy and happiness is a relationship to know, and even more, to be known. A relationship with God. It fills this inner void that nothing else can do. So bring it on Monday. I love you. See you in 7 days.